Welcome to the Knit Song Podcast. My name is Audrey, and this is my podcast where I share about all my knitting, crocheting, sewing, and yarn dyeing. Welcome to episode 32. I'm excited to be coming to you from Salt Lake City on a beautiful March day, getting closer to spring. You can see I've got my spring tulips that are helping me see how close we are to spring. And yeah, I'm excited to share with you what I've been working on. Got some works in progress and a finished object that's a little bit older. But yeah, I'm super excited to share with you today. So welcome back to any returning viewers. Thanks so much for coming back. And welcome to any new viewers. Hello. I'm going to jump right into knitting content today because I've worked a lot on my Whitmoor sweater by Amy Lowden. I love this pattern. I shared the little beginning, my cast on of the neckband and what I had so far last episode on episode 31. And so I've made some significant progress and I'm excited to show you today. So I will start with that. I actually have it in my lap here, but here's what I have so far. I got to the place where I have divided for the sleeves and now it's all on waste yarn. And I was able to try it on, which is so exciting and so fun, but it's also terrifying because that would be the moment when I'd find out it doesn't fit, but huzzah, it does fit and it fits perfectly. So I'm super excited to get this. I can't wait to get it done, but I also don't want it to be over because the knit is really enjoyable. So yes, like I said, this is the Whitmoor sweater by Amy Lowden of Tayloress Studios, and I'm so enjoying the pattern. I'm almost done with the lace, and I'm sad because it's been such a fun lace chart. I don't want it to be done, but I'm also so excited to just get this closer and closer to being a staple in my wardrobe. So let's chat a little bit about yarn. Like I mentioned last time, this is the first time I've knit a sweater in acrylic yarn. So there is no fiber content in this yarn at all. It's 70% acrylic and 30% polyamide. So it's not, there's no wool to be found in this. And it's been a different experience. It's very light and fluffy. It's been not at all unpleasant to work with. I've enjoyed the texture of it. I've enjoyed the process. So yeah, I would do it again. This is from Hobby Lobby. It's Yarn Bee in 44th Street in the blush colorway. And like I mentioned, this was exactly the color that I wanted to work with. It's a budget-friendly option, and so I knew, well, I could knit a fancier one soon, but I knew I wanted one in this colorway, so I was ready to just get started. So far, like I said, it's been pretty good. The thing that I'm most concerned about is that acrylic really doesn't block out. And so with lace, it's nice to be able to block it and get the most visual pop for all the lace work that comes with that. So I'm a little, nervous that I won't be able to really block it well. But in the same way, it also looks like it's not going to need it a ton. I see pretty clearly the lace work without having tried to block it. The other thing is because the lace work is on the top, it'll have the weight of the stockinette below pulling it down, so I think it should be okay. If it were a shawl, that might be a little bit trickier because you really, I think, need the blocking more on something that lays flat. But with sweaters, there's so much weight on them, I think it'll help the lace to be visible. So anyway, like I said, I am loving this pattern. I'm loving the experience of it and I can't wait to wear it. So I don't know what else to say about it. It's just such a well-written pattern. It's really easy to follow. I haven't needed to really rip back or do anything difficult. I haven't missed any instructions so far. So far it's been just a breeze to knit. If you've never done a lace work, a sweater before, and you want to, and you've only done more solid sweaters, I would say this would be a great stepping stone sweater project because the lace is very well written, easy to read. She has it both in a chart and a written instruction. So whatever one you're comfortable with, you can kind of go back and forth and get better at the one that you're not as comfortable with while having your own, your favorite way of doing it, whether it's the lace instructions or the chart. So I like when they have both in a pattern. It's just fun because I feel like you get better at whichever one is not your strength because you're seeing it side by side with what you're comfortable with, if that makes sense. So I would encourage anybody to buy this pattern and knit one up. It's so fun. It's just great. And I think it's going to look really nice on. I think it's going to be something that's easy to pair with, you know, whatever jeans or whatever pants or a skirt. I just think it's going to be really well worn. So that is my Whitmoor sweater progress. Here's the back. Got my stitch markers on the sleeves and everything, and I'm ready to go. So hopefully tonight I will pick up the stitches that are on waste yarn and get moving again with this. But I left them because this was a good place to stop so I could show it to you, because on the needles it's all scrunched up. So yeah, that's my Whitmoor sweater. Let's see, what's next? The next thing that I should chat about, is that finished object. I don't know that I've ever worn this sweater on the podcast before, but this is one of the first sweaters I ever knit. Sorry, I have such a creaky stool that I sit on, and it squeaks every time I move. This was done in I think this is a cotton yarn, so it feels a little different. It's self-striping, and then this is just a simple raglan increase sweater. This was from a book that I actually got at the library, and I was just getting really into knitting. I had been more of a crocheter up until that point, and so I was just getting into knitting, and I was feeling confident enough with my knit and purl skills to try a sweater. And so this was, I think, the first one that I knit that I actually wear. I think there was one long ago that didn't actually get worn, but this was the first of the sweaters I wear. So I wear it occasionally, and I was thinking about it. Actually, my mom was reminding me of it. She was like, have you ever shown your red sweater on the podcast? Because I was wearing it, and I thought, I don't think I have. So a finished object that is not new, but still very fun to wear. So that is really all I have for knitting, but I have some fun crocheting. I have so enjoyed, Katie from Inside Number 23 has recently started podcasting again, and she was one of the first podcasters I ever watched when I got into the knitting podcast world, and just I loved, ever since day one, have loved seeing what everybody makes and just being inspired by people sharing what patterns and yarn combinations they enjoy, and she was one of the first that got me into that. So it's been fun to see her recent episodes, and she shared a scrappy crochet blanket that she's doing, which is the Battenberg Blanket by Sandra Paul of the Cherry Heart Crochet podcast. And I fell in love with it immediately, and I had to be a copycat and start one myself. Because like I mentioned last episode, I have so many great minis around and I want to use them. I started a crochet granny stripe blanket with the more recent, upside down, Advent yarns that I had received in the Dyer's swap that was put together by Christy from Yarn Cafe Creations. So I'm going to continue going with this, but I'm only doing 2 rows of each color, and so I have yarn left over. So a second crochet blanket made perfect sense for me to cast on. And here's what I have so far. So what I love about this blanket is that there's a neutral square in between all the minis, and if you've seen Katie's recent podcast, it was her February one, she talked about how the neutral space separating the colors really kind of lets each one kind of speak for itself, and I couldn't agree more. So I barely just started this, and I'm so excited to keep going. So I will share more once I've got more squares, but I found that each little square takes me about 10 minutes. So it's such a great project to have. I have it in my little box by the couch, so that if I'm just waiting for chicken to come out of the oven, or if I have 10 minutes to just sit down on the couch, I can get one of these done. And the way that she does it is a join as you go construction, which I've never done before. And I really like it. So you can see there's a seam around all four, and then she has a way that you keep adding to it. So I'm excited to play with this. I'm really excited to see what these two blankets look like, side by side at the end. They'll have a lot of the same yarn in them, but it's just such a different arrangement of where the colors will be placed. So I'm so excited to have yet another scrappy blanket on not the needles for knitting, just on the hook for crocheting. So yeah, there it is. I showed these colors last week. I am continuing to make that cowl of the minis that I showed, and these are the leftovers I have so far from that project. So this one was by Orion Fiber Arts, I believe. This one by Flock Fiber. This was the one I dyed for the Advent Swap. And then this is a couple years old from Dragon Horde Yarn. And I don't remember the colorway, but it was in her, I think it was fall, probably 2 years ago. But yeah, I'm really enjoying this project. And I've really been missing crochet. So the crochet granny stripe blanket is so fun because you're doing just tons of doubles in a row, long rows of the same thing. But I miss doing granny squares and corners with crochet. There's something so satisfying with how you can make such nice sharp corners with crochet. It's just more sturdy and structural, and so it's been fun to have kind of both of those. So that is all I have in the crochet world. Also yarn related, it was my birthday, and my mom and my aunt and my mother-in-law were so kind and sent me some yarn shopping money. And so I have always wanted to have some yarn from A Homespun House, and so I was eyeing this specific colorway and had to grab a couple of these skeins. So I bought 2 of her City Lights colorway, and look how beautiful. Oh, I love it. It's such a beautiful like periwinkle with all these other kind of greens and yellows and some lighter sections. To me, it reminds me so much of Cinderella's ball gown. I don't know. It's just the perfect kind of periwinkle blue. And I think I'm going to knit a shawl with it. I don't know. I think I'm going to leave it in its skein form for a little bit and just admire it because it's just art by itself. I even might hang it on my board up there just so I can look at it while I'm sewing because it's just so pretty. But I was so excited to do some birthday yarn shopping, and I am excited to do a little bit more. So wanted to share that, but it's so beautiful. Yeah, I love these colors. So yeah, super excited to have this, and I will let you know what it becomes. I wouldn't be surprised if next episode there's a cast on already with this colorway because I want to have it in skein form to look at it, but I can't wait to knit with it either. So we'll see which one wins out. Yeah, so that is some yarn shopping that has happened. I'm trying to think of some other sewing to show you before I jump into the first project. Sorry, I'm a little scattered today. I have to confess, this episode, I think I probably filmed 10 different intros to this before I got one that made sense. And then I just kept going. So, sorry, I'm a little scattered today. I think I need a cup of tea and some crocheting or some knitting to just Relax. But anyway, another thing that I've been really into, I have recently started following Erica Arndt, who is an amazing sewist, and she does lots of quilting videos and project bag videos. And so I had some scraps of fabric that I love, and I really wanted to make them into a project bag. So I followed one of her tutorials on how to do, I think it's called a scrappy zipper pouch, but I will put it in the description box below. Anyway, here's what I've got so far. This is actually the first time I've done any quilting, and I'm really loving it. So, is this the side that I did quilting on? Of course not. Okay. Anyway, here is what I have as the outside of my bag so far. So when it's done, it will be, I just got fluff and batting all in my face. Well, when it's done, it'll look kind of like this. But on this side, I have done a little bit of the quilting, and you can see it's just straight line quilting, but it's my first time quilting over batting and actually quilting. So that's been really fun. It's definitely a learning curve. I have some lack of conformity between my stitches as far as how far they are from the seam. I'm just doing an echoed line across them, and it's so much fun. It's really, really satisfying to play with. So yeah. Anyway, I am at the stage where I'm going to put, once I finish the quilting, I'm going to put the lining in, and then you attach the lining to the zipper on both sides, and then you do the sides last. And so here is the zipper I have, which I thought would look so cute. So I'm excited. I think it's going to be a really fun project bag. All the project bags I've ever sewed for myself aren't very stiff or standy-uppy. They're not. One of them has like an interfacing, but it's really not starchy enough to hold it and give it much shape. The other ones are just lined with cotton fabric on both sides, and they're more squishy, or floppy, not squishy. This is squishy. But yeah, so a project bag is on the way. I love how these scraps of fabric went together with each other. Strangely enough, they're all pretty much from different projects. They look like they might have been bought together, but they weren't. I don't think they were. Maybe the pink and the gray were, but yeah, I think it's going to be really pretty. So yay for sewing. I definitely wanted to have a larger project bag and a stiffer one, because it is nice to have ones that stand up and hold their shape so that you can just roll the top down and kind of have it like a basket almost, where it's supporting your work for you and, you know, not so floppy. So that is one project. And then I just realized the other sewing project that I was going to sew is, I didn't get it ready and bring it over. So hold on one sec. I'm going to go grab it because it's in my little shelf unit over here. And this is a quilt top. So this is the first quilt top I've ever made. It's huge, and it's for my husband. So we had been to a friend's house, and they had a huge t-shirt quilt on the front lawn when we had like a picnic. We had like a cookout. And I thought, oh my goodness, my husband has so many t-shirts that he doesn't wear anymore, but they're super sentimental to him. And so I wanted to make him a t-shirt quilt. So I have the whole quilt top finished. And then my aunt sent me directions for how she's a great quilter. The method that she uses to attach using safety pins and going from the center out. So I have that information. I kind of wanted this project bag that I just showed to be the kind of like my practice in straight line quilting before I attach the batting in the back and do the quilting on this, because this will also just be straight line quilting. I haven't worked my way up to free motion just yet. Okay, so here is what I've got. So these are mostly band t-shirts from my husband's favorite bands. And I chose a blue border because I thought it went pretty well with them. And my husband used to teach band, and so his shirts from when he taught band are there. And they all just mean a lot to him, but he doesn't wear them all anymore. This is from when we first moved to Utah. This is from the weekend we started dating when we were 18. This was the name of their worship band. This was from a student. I love this one. This was from a student that he taught when he was a band teacher. Anyway, so I have this giant, I would say, definitely large throw size. It's not quite a queen or full in length, but it would be a nice large throw. And I'm super excited to finish this project bag and get kind of comfortable with straight line quilting so that I can move forward with this project. So I would love to finish this maybe this summer and have it for next fall for him. But it's hard to get far enough from the computer to show. But yeah, so anyway, I am working on building those sewing and quilting skills. It's just taken me a while, one step at a time, but it's definitely been a fun process. I really find sewing so soothing. It's really, I don't know, the physical motion of knitting and crocheting and sewing and even yarn dyeing, which I haven't done for a while. They're all so different but so similar in how they're really relaxing. And what I love about sewing is, like, I think I mentioned this last time, I love pressing seams open because it makes everything look so neat and so finished. But another thing I love about sewing is that you have to focus on just one line at a time, and that you're just watching as you kind of feed the fabric into the machine and just manage where it's going. It's really relaxing to just have to focus so much on that. And it demands more attention than crocheting or knitting for me, which I've done longer, where I can kind of just space out and knit. And that's really nice sometimes. But I love the focus that sewing demands of me because I'm new at it. So that's really fun. I think it is always fun to be pushing yourself or pushing myself and trying to grow a new skill because, yeah, it's just fun to have the ones that take more attention and then the ones that you could kind of almost do in your sleep. So, yes. So that, I think, is all the creative content I have for the day. I really do hope to finish my Whitmoor sweater sooner than later and that project bag very soon. The quilt here and then the crochet blankets are all going to be long-term projects, but I definitely just want to keep chipping away at them and enjoy them. Yeah. So as far as just what's been new and what's going on in my life, I was so blessed to have a college reunion weekend with some of my dearest friends. This past weekend, we got to spend so much time together and it was just so great to talk, like a lot of girls do when we get together. We just chat. So my voice is a little hoarse from all the laughing and the chatting that we did. We got to go to tea, we went to a play, but in between that, just getting coffee and catching up with what is going on in our lives and encouraging each other. It was a really beautiful weekend. So super grateful for that. It was really, really fun. However, for 4 days or so, I didn't crochet or knit or sew anything. So I'm looking forward to this afternoon getting a cup of tea and just getting back into some of my crafting and some of my creative projects, which will be fun. But that was really, really fun. Also, I'm still so enjoying the Anne of Green Gables series. I'm halfway through the second book now, and oh my goodness. I'm like, how did I own this book set for 20 years, and I'm now just finally reading it. It just sat there, and it was a treasured item because my grandmother had given it to me, and I knew I wanted to read them. But I can't believe I let them sit there that long. Crazy. But I'm really enjoying them. I'm at the part where Anne is now teaching, and I taught for 10 years, and it just is so well written, and it's really funny to hear her feelings about teaching and just all the highs and lows, and they're presented in such kind of funny ways. It's just really entertaining and charming. So I'm enjoying that a lot. I also still enjoying my bullet journaling, really trying to discipline myself to do that daily. I've fallen off a couple days. I tend to fall off the first week of the month because I normally haven't finished the whole setup for that month. So I'm going to try for March, when it gets to the last week, just to really work on the April layout so that it's ready to go and I don't lose steam. Because like the whole first week of March, I didn't like journal at all. And so now I'm trying to go back and remember what happened on that day, and it just doesn't work so well. So I'm trying to stay consistent with that. I've also been trying to stay more consistent with exercise and slowly ramping up. Instead of taking on a huge fitness program, I've just tried to consistently be walking every other day last month, and this month, I know this is super lightweight. I mean, most people wouldn't even consider it a workout, but now I'm doing a mile every day. And so next month, I think I'm doing some strength training, just basic like sit-ups and push-ups and things like that as well. But next month, I think I will add more to that. So, just trying to be intentional about those things and be intentional that things take time. I used to really push myself to go deep into whatever I'm going to run a mile every day. And then I'd run 2 days in a row and then never go to the gym again that month. Like, I'm trying to learn to just incrementally just build habits slowly over time and just build good habits as we go instead of trying to push myself to just have it all together now. So that's been really nice. So not too much else going on. I think that's pretty much a pretty good recap of what's been happening over here. So I hope that you are having a good week. I know that the news, and there's just so much crazy stuff going on right now, and it's tempting to just, I was talking with my mom about this today, like it's really hard to discipline myself to really just take the information that I need to act on and be wise about and then move on. Because to constantly dwell on what the media is throwing at you and what could possibly happen and all those things, it's just, at some point, it's just not helpful. And so having the discipline and the faith to say, okay, here's what I need to know, and then to just move on and act accordingly and then have a good day and move on. So that's been, of course, I think a challenge, and I think it's a challenge for a lot of people right now. I'm somebody who does tend to, I think we're all prone to worry, but I definitely am trying to grow in discipline of my thoughts and trying to just really limit my intake of just letting the media pour news onto me. So that's been a challenge, but it's been a really good exercise to do that. And that goes hand in hand for me. It goes hand in hand with journaling, and for me reading my Bible and praying and just really trusting God with those things. And it's been a good exercise in just being able to do that. So anyway, with all that, I hope that you are having a great week and that you get to enjoy some crafting and some making of your choice of whatever you enjoyed making. And yeah, I really hope you have an awesome week, and hopefully I will have lots of fun finished objects maybe, or closer to finished objects to show you soon. But yeah, thanks so much for hanging out and with me and just hanging out and chatting about crafty things. So yeah, I think I'm going to sign off and go get some tea and do a little crocheting on that blanket, and I will hopefully be checking in with you next week or the week after and have more to show. So anyway, thanks. I've been a little rambly and a little bit scatterbrained today. I appreciate you sticking around. My words have not been flowery and perfect today, so thanks for tuning in anyway. Have a wonderful week and a great day, and all the best.